Two more business organizations have come out strongly against the two tax measures on the January 26 special election. I'm Steve Coffey, and this is Take 5 on News Talk 1110 KBND. Since the beginning of the year, the Oregonian newspaper and the Bend Bulletin have editorialized strongly against Measures 66 and 67. These are two tax increases passed by the Democrat majority in the 2009 Oregon State legislative session, but referred to the ballot by groups opposed to them. The Central Oregon Builders Association says the editorials against the measures show that the editorial boards get it.
If the editorial page is even understanding it, we're hoping that the message is getting out there that this is not good for our economy. It's definitely not good for the small business owner.
Andy High is COBA's Vice President of Government Affairs.
The big corporations that the yes side is pushing, that they're just paying $10. Well, most of Oregon businesses are under 50 employees and small businesses and just trying to make it. The fact that the Oregonian and the Bend Bulletin editorial staffs understand that, it's definitely going to help the cause and help people become educated on what these taxes really do and these tax increases.
Also coming out against the two tax increases is the Oregon Petroleum Association. Executive Director Paul Romaine said the gross receipts piece in Measure 67 will force many gas stations in the state out of business.
Part of the gross receipts, if you would, for gas stations is the tax we collect. We basically have to pay the federal government a tax and the state government a tax and sometimes local government's tax, but it's about 50 cents per gallon in that range. Most of that actually is a state tax. That's part of our gross. So if you're paying $2.50 to us for that gallon of gasoline, 50 cents of that is tax money that we basically are getting reimbursed for, that we've already paid out to the government. So we have to count that as part of our gross income, which is ridiculous. In effect, what we're doing is paying a tax on a tax.
This is going to put a lot of service stations out of business, it would seem.
The marginal operations will go out of business. The operations, basically everybody's going to have to raise their price to pay for it. You're either going to, if you don't raise your price, then you have to go out of business. There's no excess profits. I mean, the problem that the Yes campaign has been running ads that point to the rich people, but if you are a person who owns a gas station, you're not big oil. This isn't the big oil company you're talking about. It's your neighbor down the street who's operating a very low margin business. You have high gross receipts, but you have very low margin between the cost of the product and the amount you sell it for. It's
a huge impact. I mean, and some of our guys are getting the tax bill or are going to their accountants if this passes, trying to figure out how to come up with it. And at the end of the day, the one way they can reduce is jobs.
COBA also particularly concerned about that change to a tax on gross receipts rather than on net profit.
My guys are telling me as they're trying to figure out what their calculations be, the only way they can go to is they're going to have to lay off people to find a way to make up for that tax revenue, or move to a different, we've been told the fastest growing city in Oregon is Vancouver, Washington. The yes side will talk about the, raising the $10 minimum tax. Well, that's just a minimum. I mean, there's a lot of other taxes businesses are paying. If you laid anybody off, you're seeing your unemployment tax raise 3 to 4% easily. You're seeing other things, other taxes going up, federal government. We also had taxes on premium, and that's just healthcare premiums. We're also looking at fees, which is just another disguise for a tax that people are raising. And so, for example, there's an increased document recording fee of $15, and so all this stuff adds up. And from a home builder standpoint, we have some real strong concerns that a lot of our guys aren't quite sure how they're going to make it.
We just think anybody who operates a business that works on slim margins, as we do, does not want this measure. Doesn't mean that we don't want to participate. We do in crafting solutions, but this measure is horrible.
Both COBA and the Petroleum Association agree that the fact that both taxes are retroactive to January last year is another reason these two tax increases are ill-conceived and ill-timed in a recession. I'm Steve Coffey. Take 5 is a presentation of 1110 KBND Radio News. Depend on us.